What's going on, Internet? This is Mad Marty coming back to you. Pleased to report that I just finished my first Star Wars Unlimited PQ Planetary Qualifier down in Bloomington, Illinois. First thing I'd like to say is I want to give some mad respect to Red Raccoon Games, the gaming store over in Bloomington, Illinois. They hosted a phenomenal event. They did a great job, very comfortable. They kept things moving. 70, 80 some participants, and they were really good to me. Very comfortable to move around. They took care of me, made sure I could not have too much trouble. But I'd like to give my most sincere thanks to Red Raccoon Games, and if I was a local, I'd play there anytime. But I'd like to just kind of back up a little bit and talk about this is my first event that I've ever played for PQ, and actually I had not been this excited about something in almost 30 years. You know, this kind of felt like a chess tournament of the old days, and learned an awful lot in terms of performance. Well, we'll get there. But I did go with 4 other of the Salty Smugglers. That's kind of our stable of players that I run with. AJ, Matthew, the ever-present Raidus, Perfect Paul, and our guy Elijah. I'd like to talk a little bit about how we did, but for this particular event, I know it's not exactly the most competitive deck in the world, but I went with a Captain Rex Data Vault. It's a double green deck, and I'll talk a little bit about each opponent that I won against, and we'll just take it from there. I have my handy notebook, so let's go ahead and see what we got to say. So to start things off, we did have one little hiccup. My first opponent was going to be an individual that had Han Solo, Red Han Solo, with Energy Conversion Lab. This happens to be one of the worst deck combinations I've ever gone against on Carabas, so I initially cringed. However, because not everybody showed up to the event, I went ahead. They had to reshuffle the pairings, so I got out of that one. So I was a little happy about that. But then the very worst thing that could have happened. I got paired with Matt, Salty Smuggler Matt, Kreth Karn, however he's going by that day. But honestly, I didn't travel hours just to play one of my best friends at the event. That wasn't very exciting. But anyways, I played Quinlan Voss. He does a Quinlan Voss Tarkentown combination. I went 0-2. I've gone against this deck several times. I should have performed better, but honestly, part of the problem is Matt helped me build my deck, so he knows the ins and outs of it just as well as I do. Well, maybe not quite as much, but let's just say he had my number. He does a lot of Kira plays, which prevents me from using my Unity of Purpose. Furthermore, doing the Tarkentown, there's always a lot of plinking going on. That being said, I went 0-2, but anyways, moving on. I mean, I could have gone without. I didn't travel all this way just to play the guy I play literally every week. But hey, at least he got off to a 1-0 start. But the next guy I won against, his name was, let's see, I'm going by the actual gamer tags on Melee, which is, by the way, is actually a pretty fun way to do these things. Luke M1, he was playing Bosk with a shield generator complex. So Bosk is one that I go against fairly, I wouldn't say common on Carabas, but I have had a little bit of experience. I got up to build a pretty strong board. Then all of a sudden he did some board wipes against me. Most notably, let's see here. Just bear with me as I kind of go through these files that I've kind of generated. Yeah, he nailed me with Super Laser Blast, which cleared the board. And after he did that to me twice, I wasn't feeling too good about things. But the death blow on both of those matches came from Supreme Leader Snoke. And basically, when that card is played, it's a -2 to all units, and Captain Rex uses very low stat units, so didn't really leave much of a sporting chance. I have to say I had a lot of it was a kind of a workout playing against this blue deck, because there's so much card movement going on and it's a slow game. So honestly, I like to pick up the pace. I'm trying to keep up with him. He was actually pretty cordial about things. But we were coming up on time, and I'm not the kind of guy that's going to stall out on time at these events. I know there's a strategy involved with it, but I'm a guy that I prefer beat the opponent straight up. I don't like to do any kind of clock tricks. So either I got it or I don't. And this was one guy that I definitely didn't have. But, hey, Luke, good job. And I think he was a top 40 finisher, too, so more power to him. The next one I played against was a Mace Red. The gentleman's name was B2 the Funk. He was playing with a standard red base. And, this was where I scored my first round match, but he still ultimately took it 2-1. Major reason for that was during the match is I actually forgot the resource on round 2 of all things, which is pretty much a death sentence in these things. I keep telling myself, don't make mistakes, don't make mistakes. But, I made the mistake and I paid for it. So unfortunately, he went 2-1 against me. So another loss. But by now, the other salty smugglers were doing pretty well. A lot of them had a hot streak. They were going 3-0 at this point, and I was pretty stoked about that. AJ was on fire. Pretty happy about that as well. But anyways, moving on. The next player I went against was an individual by the name of Lucas Ross. He was playing Anakin Skywalker with the Colossus base. This particular combination I've gone against actually a couple times on Carabast with mixed results. Today was not my day. He beat me 2-0. There's a little bit of controversy with can Anakin work with Colossus, with the additional health. It's a 35-point base, but there's some of the other players out there prefer to have that extra card because you can only start with 5 cards. Didn't seem to hurt him any. So once again, we fell flat on our face. So the next match after that, I went against a guy by the name of Sith Lord with some numbers after it, 1014 to be exact, and he was playing Luke Skywalker with a standard blue base. This one I was able to eke out a win. I was able to trigger Unity of Purpose, but this particular game I fell victim to the War Juggernaut, and this thing is just brutal. One played against me. Let's see here. Unit gets +1/+0 for each damage unit. One played dealt 1 damage to each of any number of units. And Rex is a wide deck. So, if I got, say, 6-7 units out there, that's 6-7 units that he can stack to or damage that he can potentially do. So I'm dealing with a 13-7 enemy here. I was able to smoke it once, but twice, and I kind of ran out of gas. So, 1 and 2 against that. So we're still not having that great of a day. After that, I went against a nice gentleman. Let me see if my notes here. Apologies. I went against an individual by the name of Disc Golf Jesus. Real nice guy. He was playing a Boba Fett, the red Boba Fett with Jabba's Palace, which is the yellow base. Unfortunately for him, red Boba Fett cards are the one leader that I have more experience playing against on Carabas than anything else. I've must have played those things like at least 40 times in the last couple weeks. This was a game that I actually won 2-0. The first time I was able to win without Unity of Purpose, I was able to throw up a couple of shield of units through timely reinforcements, because Boba Red is the Red Boba is a very space heavy deck, so, and a lot of indirect damage. And the nice thing about Rex is, with all the units I got going on out there, I can soak up a lot of that damage. And the second round, I was able to trigger Unity of Purpose. I think it was a +6/+6. I had 6 different named units, triggered the card, so it was a +6/+6 for all my units on board. And he was taken a little off guard by that. But we got to talking a little bit, and I got to learn a little bit about his channel, which I am going to leave in the description here. In Jesus' Name we play is the name of the channel, and he was telling me about a little water rocket video that he did, and he has a couple million views on that, I think, or 1.7 million. I have to double check. More views than I'll ever get, but nice guy, very sporting, and I was able to win 2-0. So we weren't skunked. We were not skunked. And then the final match I played against was the Future Flash Zero. He was playing Han Solo, yellow version, with a command center, and that's a green base. Didn't perform too well. I tend to do rather poorly against Han Solos of all shapes and sizes. But he had a couple of stolen AT haulers on space. I didn't have much of an answer for that, but it was the most efficient match of the game. But I went to 0-2. Overall, for the rest of the Salty Smugglers, I believe AJ went 4-2-1. 3 of our guys went 3-4, and I think ever-present Raidus. Let me see if I can't find the stat here. Yeah, he was 1-5-1. But overall, the team as a whole did reasonably well. I was very pleased to see that AJ finished within the, I think it was like the top. Actually, he took 16th place. So more power to him. 4-2-1. Matt got into the prize pool too, so I was happy to see that. But, you know, if we were a wrestling staple, and, you know, AJ's sitting here being the Undertaker, I'm like the jobber of the team, so we're going to have to do something about this. I will say that I was very stubborn walking into this. You know, I didn't want to learn too much of the meta decks. I liked my Rex, and I'm going to probably wind up retiring it after this event. And I love the deck, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I do love the deck. But I really do feel that I want to do something else for the next Star Wars Unlimited set that's coming out. And to all the guys I played, you were all class guys, every single one of you. I really enjoyed playing with you guys. Glad to exchange some stories for everything from personal hobbies to family life. It was good hearing about all of you, and actually some real mad respect to the Carbondale, Central Illinois area of Star Wars players. I didn't realize the community down there was actually so solid. I would play with those guys anytime, and it's good to know that the game has growing interest. But I will say this, I will get back to the drawing board. I'm going to have my revenge. Well, either that or I'm going to get even worse lashing. We'll see what happens. But I am excited to gear up a little bit. I mean, obviously, I was a pretty poor performer in the event as a whole, going 1-6. But you know what? You got to start somewhere. I got into the game late, and I wasn't really interested in a lot of the science that comes with the game. I'm still not, to be honest. But I am planning on doing even more practice before the next rounds. I think some of the Salty Smugglers were a little upset about their performance. They're going to do a little bit better for the next tournament, I think. So we'll catch you out there. But again, great thanks to everybody that participated, everybody that was a class act there. I don't believe in trolling your opponents or, talking trash or anything like that. I didn't run into anything like that, and the owner of Raccoon Games and all the judges, once again, phenomenal job. So, in any case, just wanted to get that out there. In the meantime, I'd like to remind you all that this is Mad Marty telling you to do what's responsible, avoid what's irresponsible, make the most of what you got, and get respect. Mad respect. See you next time.